Watch the ride.
Hey everybody, hope you're all doing good. So, the question of should motorcycles be allowed in all bus lanes has been asked for a while. In some places in the UK you can drive bikes in bus lanes, in other places you can't and you'll get a fine. So basically there was a proposal to look into whether they should make it okay for everyone by default to go into bus lanes because it was safer for bikers, they said. So they did studies, and to my understanding the study results were there was only positive impacts for motorcyclist safety or neutral. There was no negative to allowing bikes into bus lanes by default. The Department of Transport asked 14,000 people, hey, what do you think about bikes being used in bus lanes by default? And only 170 something of that 14,000 said that they do not agree with the statement, which is that all motorcycles should be allowed in bus lanes by default where it's safe to do so. So bikers want it, many people are behind it, few people are against it, and it makes more sense for everyone that it should be passed, right? So this assessment study, whatever you want to call it, this proposal has been appraised, and they denied it flat out and said no. And this is where I think they said the quiet bit out loud. At present, the government have no policies in place to promote the greater use of motorcycles. At present, we have nothing that it wants to encourage people to use motorcycles. Why? Now, if the reason they don't want people to use motorcycles is because, you can get hurt on those things, so allow us in bus lanes where we won't get hurt so easily. Like, that's the whole point of that. So this is where, I can understand where the fuel comes from for people to take things just a bit too far with their beliefs of what is and isn't happening in the world. But I don't think it's too far to go now to say that the government is now officially anti-motorcycle. People have thought it for years, and now you're going, Spicy, it's always been that way, what are you talking about, blah, blah, or has it been that since the 90s? Yeah, I know, but there's never been any official wording I've ever seen that basically says, nah mate, we don't like them. So you might then think, well, okay, what is it the government do to put people off biking? Is it the tier system of the licences? Because you can't just be 19 and jump onto 1000cc. And the problem is, I agree with the tier system, because since they brought the the A2 and the tier system into it, serious injuries dropped by something like 30-something%, and deaths dropped by something like 30-40%. I can't remember the exact figures there. They are findable. But basically, there was a measurable impact that proved that putting tiered licenses in was a benefit to reducing the worst accidents, which makes perfect sense. So, on one hand, I'm like, so I do get why they have the tier system, but at the same time, I do get why it's putting people off bikes, but there is a benefit to that. This, I can't see the benefit of not allowing bikers to go into bus lanes. Even if you don't want people on bikes, it keeps them safer. So that's basically what's going on the bus lanes. No. Yeah, we know it's better for you, we know you'll want it and no one has a problem with it, but we do, so no. You don't even need a policy to allow that, you just do what the people ask. If people say, yes, we like that, we want that, that should be the thing the government wants to do. But let's not get into politics and the realities of any of that. But I do want to expand off slightly. Okay, so if the tiered licenses isn't putting people off, what else could there be? And I do wonder whether the current trend of, where you see motorcycle content always tends to be in a controversial way, road rage incidents, people doing wheelies, stuff like that, what you see on TikTok, all that sort of stuff, which mostly comes out of America. No offense to America, you could get away with doing wheelies and stuff and put them online. We will get annihilated for it. And people say, I've done loads of wheelies on video, it's fine. You carry on, I don't care. It's just, at the end of the day, my licence is my livelihood, and I love biking so much I made it my job. So I really don't want to lose my licence over like a wheelie or doing something kind of stupid on camera. It's like when I do reviews, people say, well, you didn't even, stretch its legs that much, how could you know? It's like, do you think the only things I do with this bike is what's filmed? And And if you look at the motorcycle content that's been popular over the years, what really grows is not the sensible stuff, it's not realistic stuff, it's the more extreme stunting side of it and aggression and, you know, people being a bit stupid. Because kids think that's cool. Yet these kids then come to people like me and say, my parents won't let me have a bike. And it's like, have you shown them any reason as to why they might want to trust you on a bike? Like, are you into stuff like all the wheeling stuff? Like, that's the reason you want to get a bike? Because if it is, it's the wrong reason. And if your parents have an even slightest whiff of the idea that that's why you want a bike, your chances, if there were any, are dead. As dead as they think you will be in about 10 minutes of riding the bike. Whether that's a reality or not, that's what they're going to think. So I hate to say it, but seeing the way that the government's opinion is about bikes, seeing the way that the market is doing, seeing the way that, you know, what is encouraged and not encouraged in the bike world, what's appreciated and not, I'm starting to agree with people that the end of motorcycling as we know it is starting to happen. I feel like maybe people of my generation and maybe the next generation are some of the few that are going to know free motorcycling, as it were, even though I had to, you know, get my license through the tier system. Not that I went through the tier system because of my age when I took my test, but the point is, you know, it was that sort of era of when I did it. So yeah, that's a thing, and it's not very good. I'd love to know what your thoughts about it are. I mean, as I say, to me, I don't live in an area of many bus lanes. The only place near me that has bus lanes is Portsmouth. I'm not allowed to drive in those, and I don't really care locally, but I totally get for other people in bigger cities how that allowance would have been really good for you. So I'd love to hear from people who it does affect more. If you've got any more information on this, if you want to add anything, comments are below, go for it. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you're new here, and if you want to help support this channel, please consider doing that through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Just recently a few people did jump on board, which is just so weird to see, because so few people actually can, you know, support people these days, or seem to want to on YouTube. And I just want to say to those few people, thank you so much. And to everyone who supports me, thank you. I really appreciate it. Till the next one, bye-bye.